Oh, relationship advice. Yes. One of my
Let's get into this relationship advice. So today we got an interesting one. Let me get into it. All right, let's get into it. So for today's relationship advice, my husband is mad that I let my 16-year-old son bathe our 2-year-old daughter. Backstory. Last night I had a really bad migraine and my husband was at work. I asked my son, 16, if he could give his sister, 2, a bath since my head was killing me. He was perfectly fine with this, and when my husband got home, he found me asleep. He woke me up asking if I had made dinner or given our daughter a bath yet. I told him that I had a migraine, so our son gave her a bath. He screamed at me, saying that this was not okay for him to do unsupervised. He said that my migraine was no excuse to not take care of her. Then my son hears him yelling at me and tries to get him to stop. He hasn't spoken to either of us since. What should I do? Edit. My son is not related to my husband. So this is a stepson.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So the father was upset with the wife for letting her son bathe his 2-year-old daughter.
Yes.
From another relationship. Yes.
The son is from another relationship.
But the daughter is with
them together.
Okay.
So my question is, do you feel like it is inappropriate for a 16-year-old stepson to bathe your 2-year-old daughter?
No. No, I don't.
I don't either.
And if I get dragged for that, I'm sorry. I don't. And I'm sorry. This is a trigger warning.
Yeah.
Because the only way that I can see why that would be a problem is if you were molested yourself.
Right.
And I got to keep it real there. I'm sorry. I know, and I'm not trying to. This is not a joking matter. I'm not trying to joke. So if I'm smiling, it's not because I'm joking. I understand that could be triggering for somebody that was compromised,
or somebody close to them that was.
Yes. But in a normal circumstance, I do not see a reason why. Because I don't even like even using the word step. I don't see a reason why a brother could not bathe a 2-year-old.
Right.
I not unless that 16-year-old has shown signs of possibly abusing the 2-year-old.
Right.
But then that's a whole nother ball game.
Well, I think just in general, there's like this, I won't say unwritten rule, but definitely not when you're 2. But I know there's a certain age for young girls where it's like, oh no, you can't be doing that no more. Yeah,
I agree with that.
You can't, every girl knows where you get to that age where like you too big to be, you know, sitting on your dad's lap, or you get to that age where that starts to happen.
Yep, I agree.
So I mean, I'm not saying that people don't have their reasons. And you know what's so crazy is sometimes when you would get those talks about, oh, don't do this or don't do that, it's because they knew, like you said, they knew for a fact that uncle or this person or whatever. And it's like, you policing me and this person shouldn't even be here. That's really the cold part about it. Like, this person should not even be at the cookout.
Right.
In the first place.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. Yep.
That's the craziest part. That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah. Black families, we really got to start having these kind of conversations. And I don't know if that person's black or not, but we're talking about black culture. But we do tend to protect the predators and the offenders instead of making it right, calling it out. Like, for the life of me, I don't understand why we allow those people to still operate. Like, if you know somebody in your family molested somebody, why would you not say something? You're going to allow that person to possibly do it again.
Yeah, they wouldn't be around.
But and I know there's a lot of people that are like afraid of the fallout. Like, if I do say something, then I'm going to be the one that broke up the family. And I've actually heard of people having fallouts because they were the ones that said something. And they're like, how could you do this? Why would you say that? Why would you call the police? Why would you? And it's like, why would I not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if that person is not actively seeking help and they are around children, And, you know, for instance, just for a case in point, if I was molested, why would I want somebody else to be as well? Like, after going through something like that, why would you want that to happen to anybody else?
Yeah.
And why would you? And again, I'm saying this with as much empathy and a compassion as possible, because I know it's not an easy thing to do. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but I just think that as if we say that it takes a village, that as a family units need to do a better job of having those conversations, where if anybody makes you feel uncomfortable, you should have the room to be able to speak that, say that, have open dialogue, and be heard. Because a lot of times if somebody will say something, oh no, he didn't do that. Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. You need to go ahead. And it's like you're dismissing them.
I think in this situation, I don't feel like the mom was wrong, but also don't feel like the dad was wrong for feeling away, if that makes sense. Like, it needs to be, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Like, if you feel uncomfortable with this, why? You know what I'm saying? That's the conversation. Why do you feel uncomfortable with this?
Unpack it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the part that doesn't happen. I feel like a lot of times when we talk about these scenarios, and even in real life when we're in these scenarios, the conversation is about which side is right and which side is wrong, and it's not about unpacking and meeting in the middle of like the underlying issue.
Having the conversation, and my thing of it is like, if it was just his child, I would maybe understand a little bit better. But it's a child they have together. So why would he think that she would allow their child to be in danger? That to me shows that there may be some abuse in the past in his part. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yeah, why for one, why would you not trust your wife? For two, why would you not trust your stepson? And for three, why would you not trust them with your child that you guys created together? Like, again, if it was a child that you brought in from another relationship, sure, because that's your child. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you married, then it's a family unit, but it obviously your flesh and blood. You're obviously going to have a little bit more affirmity for them. So I don't know. I think, like you said, those are some of the conversations that need to be had. Like, that's why you need to unpack your childhood with whoever you're marrying or you're in a relationship with. And unfortunately, sometimes triggers don't pop up until you're in the situation. So I would like to say they should have had the conversation beforehand, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Like, who would think to? I feel like now we're having more conversations because there's so many scenarios rolling around that it is. I feel like there's a positive to it because it does spark.
Now it comes out. Now you can have the
conversation. You can have the conversation. Like, me and my husband have had a lot of conversations based off a social media meme or whatever is trending at the moment. Like, okay, like, what do you think? And then we'll talk about it. Like, you know what I mean? So there is the positives to it where it is sparking conversations. But then on the other hand, it could get toxic. Well, on the internet,
it's not even that. In the house, they said that he's not talking to either one of them.
Right, and again, that's not not the answer.
That's you shutting down. So that tells me that there's some places that he needs to be healed from.
But there's some missing parts in there, because at the end of the day, she said the son came in, and obviously there was an altercation between him and the son. So I mean, again, the small details we don't know. So, but just from what we have. You can't end it like that.
Got it. Yeah. Because you also think, like, how does that make the son feel? Being accused of, like, as a child, that could really stick with you. Like, wow, like you would really think I would do that? Like, you really think that I would, you know what I mean? Like, as innocent and you know, me and you talk about this off air, as I'm blessed to be able to have an innocent childhood where a lot of these things I never had to think about or have to worry about. So I tend to look at these things from that place. Like, if it's just children, then it's just children. Like, I look at it as innocent, but I'm not naive to not know that there is abuse that does happen. So from somebody that came from a background of abuse, you're going to look at it like I'm more alert to the abuse or what may even look like abuse. Because there's memes and conversations and even I'll even say, even in my history, like my daughter, like there was a time where I had a conversation with somebody and they asked me, well, why is she on your lap? And I'm just like, and she was like, I forgot how old she was, maybe 7, 8. And I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm like, well, why would you think that it's something sexual? Well, it just looks inappropriate. Why is that the first thing that you're going to? And at that time, I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, well, now I'm like, okay, the first thing you're thinking about, because there's at some point in your life, maybe you were exposed to something like that.
Even if you weren't exposed, it's taught to you. Like, you're taught that that's inappropriate. So even if I wasn't exposed, like I said, when girls get to a certain age, that's what's ingrained in them. That's what they're told. They're told when you're, looking like you acting fast, or when you look like you're doing something inappropriate. So we're hyper aware of that. And again, you pass that down. So now that's your mindset of, if I was told that it's inappropriate for me to sit on my dad's lap at around 7 years old, and I see a 7-year-old sitting on somebody's lap, I'm going to feel like it's inappropriate. I think another thing that we don't talk about either is that a lot of abuse that happens, but from other kids. And a lot of times, like, you go to like a family function, and it'd be like, all right, y'all, the kids go, the adults because the adults want to drink, they want to smoke, they want to do what they want to do.
That's true.
And then you're leaving kids of different ages together.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And again, a lot of times it's like a cycle, because kids repeat what's done to them. So if they don't know any better, they're gonna repeat. Like, it's just this ongoing cycle.
That makes sense.
And I've seen it. So that's the thing. So
yeah, no, I think you make very valid.
So it's like I said, it's valid on both sides.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, like, this is a 16-year-old and their kid is 2. So I don't know how long they've been together, but obviously he's not been in this boy's life that long. If y'all have a 2-year-old together and her son is 16, so I don't see, like, I feel like it would be different if, he's been around for a long time, to where there's that trust and connection.
I can see that.
So
yeah, and maybe there should have been a little bit of better communication on her part. Maybe, hey, I'm tired, I'm gonna have such and such, bathe them. And then it could have been like, no, I don't want you to do that, and then you could have the conversation there. But again, I mean, I would have assumed that it would have been okay too, but that's why you sometimes have to over communicate. Yeah,
and I feel like sometimes, as the person that, even if I was the one that felt like it was inappropriate, I feel like you have to give your partner the benefit of the doubt sometimes. Like, sometimes it'd be like, we be too quick to feel like somebody should think the same way that we think. Like, that could have been, even if you feel like the decision was wrong, that doesn't mean it wasn't an innocent decision.
Correct. Yep. So I agree. So in this situation, as relationship advice, what is the relationship advice that we're giving in this situation?
I'd say, talk to your partner. I don't feel like it's not about being right or wrong on either side. It's about coming to an actual solution that works for both of y'all.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, that
immediately, because that response is telling me that there needs to be some things that are unpacked with somebody that is outside of the household.
Yes, absolutely.
Because trying to do that within and try to work that, no, you guys need possibly go to family counseling. You guys need somebody to help talk you through that situation,
to facilitate the conversation. A lot of times that's what's needed.
Facilitate, yes,
absolutely,
and coach you through it. Yep. So, and you guys know we are big advocates for therapy and mental health.
And I ain't even been going. Let me just be transparent right now. I'm really like, we talk. We always, we have our talk, and we be going through a lot. And I'm like, bro, I'm not even going to therapy.
Just because life has been too busy?
No, I don't have no excuse, because I have a lot of time.
Okay.
And a lot of times, most of the therapy is video.
Oh yeah.
At least with Kaiser, they do a lot of the video conference, so it really ain't no excuse. It's just one of those things that you put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And
gotta self-care is important.
Yeah.
Now, and I know that we preach being selfish, but I think that message has also become toxic. Selfishness has been almost like preached, and I think we have to realize that, like, self-care does not always need to be selfish. I think you need to prioritize yourself and your needs. But if you're in a unit community, right? So I think appreciate you for being vulnerable, and definitely encourage you to get back into counseling. I think it's necessary to have some type of outlet to be able to explore your thoughts, your feelings, express yourself, right? That's why, as we're joking and playing around, but like we're talking about men holding each other, men accountable. I'm in 2 men's groups right now. I'm in a men's group I meet with on Sundays every morning, and then I'm in another men's group that we meet every 3rd Sunday, where that is what we do. We hold each other accountable. We talk, we have open dialogue about where we've missed the mark, about where we can improve, on how to improve. We do Bible study together. Like, we are all locked in and saying we want to be better men, and let's hold each other accountable to be that. So I think it's extremely important to have community. And if you're not in a group, and if you see that there's maybe some things that you could, we all need a coach. I think sometimes people think therapy is like, oh, like there's like something wrong. No, sometimes you just need somebody to help you talk some things through, point some things out to you that maybe you're not aware of, or just maintenance.
Yeah.
Right? Because life is very stressful. And I think life is not meant to be done alone. And I think a lot of times that we feel like that you're going to get this badge for doing things and being independent and whatever. But I just feel like we were not created to be independent. We were created to be interdependent. So, and if you got to go to therapy, don't, for those that are listening, I know that therapy has kind of been like a buzzword, like, oh, get a therapist. Like, no, like seriously, if you really need to get a therapist, right, get one and be consistent, because, you take you wherever you go, right?
Absolutely.
And again, it doesn't. Nothing has to be wrong.
That's the part.
I think we just have this. Oh, if you've seen a therapist and something's wrong, something wrong with you. You got some mental health problem. No, it doesn't. Like, if you go to premarital counseling, does it mean something's wrong? No.
I think too, you really got to get into the habit, like you said, of not waiting until something's wrong. And I feel like a lot of times we get ourselves into into the deficit, and then we try to self-care our way out of it. Like, it's emergency self-care. Like, once you're already there, now it's like, let me do all this emergency self-care to try to bring myself out of it. Like, no, you should already be preventative. Like, it's not necessarily about, like, life be life, and we'll say that all the time, but it will help you effectively manage stress, which will kill you. Just be all the way. This is about your health, because
a lot of your health issues show up from stress.
Yep, you see what I'm saying? So
that's true.
It doesn't necessarily have to be this, like, oh, I had a death in the family, or I had, like, it doesn't have to be something big,
right,
in a way. Right. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. It can be just regular job stress, regular, people talk about how hard it is being parents, how hard it is, taking care of your parents, like, dealing with your parents getting older, and the idea of just them getting old. They might not be sick or going through anything right now, but like like, it makes it real. Like, dang, my parents is really getting up there in age, and just sitting with those feelings. So I do it.
All good points. So we got to make sure that we are prioritizing community and prioritizing just being better, whether it be counseling, whether it be therapy, whether it be doing things like gym, walking. I mean, there's just a bunch of things that we can do, like I said, whether it be self-care. But I really think that there's power in community, for sure.
Absolutely.
Power in community, for sure. So for the men that are listening, please get in groups. Please get into some type of accountability circle, Bible study, whatever it is that you want to do, because it's worth it. I mean, I am a big advocate for men being better men. That we have gotten and kind of taken this red pill where we're blaming other people for our problems. But the bottom line is that, again, you take you wherever you go, and you work on you.
Period.
You work on you, and be around other people that want similar things, or again, that are going to tell you the right thing to do. Like, again, like with Herb Gotti, somebody is telling you what's right, and you rejecting it because you in your ego and you in your pride.
He don't want those. He, like you said, he wants the yes men.
He wants the yes men around you, and you should want people that are going to be willing to challenge your way of thinking, challenge what you're doing, and challenge you to be better. That's really what it boils down to. So, and I think a good therapist will do that.
Absolutely.
And a good therapist will ask you the tough questions. And if you're in therapy and you feel like it's a breeze and the therapist ain't asking you no tough questions, I would say that maybe you need to look at getting a new therapist.
Absolutely.
Because I went to a therapist before, for our marital counseling. He was just like, "Oh, you guys are fine. Everything, you guys are good. It seem like you guys have no problems."
Ooh, that happened to me when I sat down with a therapist. He was like, "Seems like you don't need me." I was like, "Ooh, I need a different person.
Need a different person, yeah,
because you ain't it."
Because it's like I need you to dig and find some things. Like, no, like I can easily come into a therapist session and fake it. But as a good thing, you should be able to see through my little, you know what I'm saying? And not to say that we were faking it, but a lot of the problems and issues that we did not talk about in marital counseling popped up after we got married. And then like some of my friends and stuff, they were like, "You guys didn't talk about that in counseling?" And then my pastor was like, "You guys didn't talk about that in counseling?" I was like, "No," but nobody told me what we should have been talking about in counseling. I'm in the session thinking that he's going to tell me what we need to talk about. And he's just trying to just basically pass us through and just give us an A instead of like, no, like, okay, what do you guys feel about money? How are you guys going to handle your money? How are you guys going to handle this blended family? Those are the conversations we should have had before we got married. But again, and I said it before and I'll say it again, that's why I'm an advocate for pre-engagement counseling. Because when you engage, you already got your eye on the prize and you want to just get to the altar.
Yeah, especially if you did it publicly.
You done already put down a deposit on the venue. You done bought the dress. You done already sent out the code to Men's Warehouse for the grooms to get their tuxes. You already did all that. So if things don't go well in therapy, you ain't gonna like be like, all right, look, we pausing everything. Nah.
I feel like you should do it while you're engaged. I don't feel like you have to do it like, cause some people want the engagement to be a surprise, like, you know what I'm saying. But if you already going to counseling, you already know it's coming up. But I definitely like for me, I think
do what you mean. You mean you should do the counseling after you get engaged?
I feel like you should do it before you start putting money down on shit.
Well, if I'm engaged, I already bought the ring.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I need to know: are you worthy? Are we compatible? For me to even propose.
Okay, you're right.
Because let's say we get into therapy or counseling. Let's say counseling. Let's say that we get into counseling and a big issue pops up.
You could take that L on the ring. You be all right.
Nah, hell nah. Hell nah. Hell nah. How much did... I ain't gonna ask. That's a personal question.
I'm just saying, like...
I spent 4 bands on my engagement ring.
You could take that L. You
nah.
all right.
Nah. In 2015,
yeah,
4 bands on the ring.
You right?
Nah, because I ain't getting the ring back.
Yeah, that's tacky.
And even if I do get it back, they ain't gonna give me no money for it.
Yeah, that's tacky to ask for a ring back.
Look, the way I'm set up.
I'm sorry, it's tacky to ask for an engagement ring back just because it didn't work out.
Look. If I'm still making payments on that Zell's credit card, you ain't gonna be walking around with that damn ring while I'm still making payments on it.
I'm weak.
Nah, that ain't happening, dog.
I need that back.
I'll make that shit into a pinky ring or something, man.